All right, let's dive into one of the most surprising and honestly kind of hilarious stories from the American Revolution, the Culper Spy Ring. This is a story about secret agents, insane covert operations, and how a simple clothesline could literally change the course of a war. Yeah, you heard that right. It all kicks off with questions like this. Forget what you know about grand battles and muskets. The really cutting-edge tech of the Revolution sometimes involved stuff you could find on a farm. Early attempts at invisible ink were, well, let's just say they were pretty rustic. So let's unpack how we got here. To really get why America's top spies were messing around with breakfast items, you first have to understand the massive, massive problem facing General George Washington. Okay, picture this. It's 1778. The revolution has been dragging on for 3 long, brutal years. And for the Americans, things are looking, well, to put it nicely, they're looking like a total bust. I mean, the difference between the two sides was just night and day. You had the British chilling in occupied New York City with better uniforms, better threads, you could say, a huge navy and plenty of food. And then you had Washington's Continental Army, which was underfunded, undersupplied, and, as our source puts it, basically resorted to eating their own shoes. Not great. So Washington has this light bulb moment. He realizes he can't win by just being a bowling ball, just marching his army straight into the British pins. It wasn't working. He had to get smarter. He had to get sneaky. What he desperately needed was intelligence. And the answer to Washington's problem? It came from one of his own men who had this vision for a brand new kind of intelligence network. This was the birth of the Culper Ring. So this guy, Major Benjamin Tallmadge, he steps up. And his idea is just brilliant in its simplicity. He says, forget professional soldiers. Let's use people the British would never, ever suspect. He proposed recruiting a crew of his childhood buddies from his hometown back on Long Island. So who's on this team? Well, the core of it, the main guys, were Abraham Woodhull, who got the code name Culper Sr., and Robert Townsend, who went by Culper Jr. These weren't soldiers. They were just regular citizens who were about to do some seriously extraordinary stuff. Okay, so now for the really cool part. How did they actually do it? Their methods were just a masterclass in low-tech genius. We're talking secret ink, really long horse rides, and yes, strategically placed underwear. But the real big brain move, as the source calls it, was Robert Townsend's cover. See, he owned a general store and a coffee shop right in the heart of British-occupied New York. This made him the perfect fly on the wall. He could gather all sorts of gossip and military plans from British officers while he was just, pouring them a cup of coffee. And every good spy ring needs a gadget, right? Well, their key piece of tech was this stuff called sympathetic stain. It was this special invisible ink. You couldn't see the writing at all until you brushed a second, very specific chemical over it. It was basically the 18th century version of a VPN, hiding their data in plain sight. Now, getting that invisible message out of the city was a whole other challenge. It was this crazy multi-step relay race. First, Townsend passes the message to a courier, Austin Rowe, who then has to ride a grueling 55 miles. Then it gets to a secret Dropbox, where the signal for pickup is given by Anna Strong's laundry, before it's finally sailed across the Long Island Sound by Caleb Brewster. And we just have to stop and appreciate the absolute brilliance of Anna Strong's code. It was so simple, so domestic, the British would never look twice. A black petticoat hanging on the line meant a message was ready to be picked up. And the number of handkerchiefs hanging next to it, that told the boatman which hidden cove to go to. It's perfect. So all this sneaking around with invisible ink and laundry signals, this wasn't just for passing along minor troop movements. Nope. This system led the spies to uncover the single biggest, most shocking act of treason of the entire war. So what was their greatest success? What was this massive discovery? Well, the source puts it perfectly. It was exposing the biggest, uncool moment of the American Revolution. And that moment was, of course, Benedict Arnold's plot to just hand over the critical fortress of West Point to the British. I mean, this would have been a catastrophic loss for the Americans, maybe even a war-ending one. But thanks to the information gathered and passed along by the Culper Ring, the whole plot was discovered. Washington was able to stay one step ahead of the British. He secured the fort, and he stopped a total disaster. This is the moment that proves just how crucial their sneaky work really was. So when you look back at this whole incredible story, what's the big takeaway? Well, for one, it really challenges our idea of what a hero even looks like, especially in a revolution.
Our default image of a hero is the soldier charging straight into cannon fire, bold battlefield action. But the Culper Ring hero, they were playing a totally different game. Their bravery wasn't about charging cannons, it was in the quiet risk of writing with invisible ink or the cleverness of hanging laundry in just the right way.
So what's the real lesson here? Is it that heroes can be sneaky and quiet and still change the world? Or is it something else entirely? It really makes you wonder. Maybe changing the world doesn't always take a sword. Sometimes all it takes is a pen and a very well-placed petticoat.